7 days. Next Thursday is week 1, Lions versus the Chiefs, Thursday night football. Football is 6 days away, but don't worry, we'll save that for Tuesday's episode of the Harvey Hour. We got some interesting news that happened this past week, so let's get right into it with our first topic of today's show. So the Patriots decided to waive both Bailey Zappe and Malik Cunningham just for them to somehow, I'm surprised Bailey Zappe didn't get claimed, but both of them went unclaimed, and the Patriots signed them to the practice squad. And then I believe yesterday, the Patriots decided to sign a former Panthers quarterback, Matt Corral, who was out injured all of last season, to be the backup to Mac Jones. Now, reportedly, Bailey Zappe and Matt Corral will fight each other for that backup position role, but as of right now, the only two quarterbacks on the Patriots roster are Mac Jones and Matt Corral. So I don't know. Do these moves show that Bill Belichick finally believes in Mac Jones as the starting quarterback, or is something crazier going on in New England?
I think that they started the season thinking there was going to be a quarterback competition between Zappe and Jones. And I think Zappe, I think it went to his head a little bit. I think he thought he was better than he actually was, and he played terrible. He really played very poorly in the preseason, and I think Bill O'Brien has a view of what a quarterback should bring to the table and what their strengths should be, and he knows what their weaknesses are. And I think he is the one that has really gotten down on Zappe and convinced Belichick that they should release them and then bring them back on the practice squad. So I think it has more to do with Bill O'Brien actually than I think with Bill Belichick. I think.
Do you think
Bill O'Brien is a very strong voice? I think he's a very strong voice on the offense. You know, because he's the offensive coordinator now, and he's a true offensive coordinator. He's not someone who's learning the position. He knows what it takes to be a great offensive coordinator, and he has Bill Belichick's respect because he was the offensive coordinator for the Patriots back when Brady was the quarterback at one point, and they did win Super Bowls in those. In that time frame. So I think that Bill O'Brien believes Mac Jones is number one. And I think that Bill Belichick's smart enough to say, you're my offensive coordinator, you're making these calls, I'm going along with your decision-making.
I think that's the smartest choice, to let someone else decide the offense, because we've seen Belichick make very, very bad decisions. Last year, we saw he signed a defensive coordinator and a special teams coordinator to be the offensive play caller and the QB coach to Mac Jones in his second year, which I said even before, we heard the rumors about, the offense being stagnant in training camp. That was just that's a setup for failure. You signed a defensive coordinator to call your offensive plays and a special teams coordinator. Both, by the way, were failure as head coaches on the on their respective teams, the Lions and the Giants. You bring them in and put them into positions that they're not prepared for and they're not really designed to do. Matt Patricia, he's not an offensive guy. Joe Judge, he worked in special teams. We saw what he did with Daniel Jones. He was the 26th ranked quarterback. Why is it a good idea to make him your QB coach? I have no idea. Reportedly, Belichick wanted to get Bill O'Brien last year, but he was worried that he would be so popular this year that he would find a head coaching job and only have 1 year with New England. Bring him in this year, and now he's the OC. Now, what I think, when you talk about Bailey Zappe, that offense looked anemic every time Bailey Zappe was out there. I have it right here.
Passes where he had time to throw the ball. He wasn't within 10 yards of the guy.
In the preseason,
it's a very poor passes.
In the preseason, he was tied for 27th in passing touchdowns with 1. He was 39th in passing yards at 253. He had an overall grade of a 50, which is not good, not great, not even really, it's pretty bad. Yeah. So Bailey Zappe did not have the best of the preseason, but I was more shocked how he wasn't even claimed on any waivers, because all the hype around Zappe last year, Patriots fans telling him to bench Mac Jones, especially after that Bears game where Mac Jones probably even wasn't ready to go, but decided to get there anyway. It was Zappe all last season. I'm surprised with all the hype and with all what Patriots Nation knows about Bailey Zappe and how a lot of them think he should be the starter, that he didn't get even claimed by any team. And we just saw P.J. Walker get picked up again. I guarantee you Bailey Zappe is probably a better quarterback than P.J. Walker. And somehow he got picked up, and Bailey Zappe didn't even get a waiver claim, which is pretty interesting.
Well, what do you think about Matt Corral?
Well, there's really there's nothing on him. He hasn't played at all. He was injured last season. He's a third-round pick out of Mississippi. I mean, there's really nothing there. And what I love about this move, actually, what I was shocked, but I sort of understood it, because the one thing Mac Jones didn't need is that zappy pressure. So to waive him, you're saying no, it's Mac Jones's team, and that's why they didn't even bring him up to be the backup. They brought in Matt Corral, a guy who literally has zero experience really in the NFL, but especially zero experience in the Patriots offense. This is now officially Mac Jones's team. There is no pressure how Matt Corral, who has no experience on the Patriots team or know the system or really know who's on the team at the moment. He probably does, but just for the sake of this, there's no pressure for him to take your job. Bailey Zappe was a huge distraction to Mac Jones, because all the fans wanted him, especially after he played okay. His best game was against the Browns, where he threw for over 300 yards, but the defense took the ball away from the Browns 4 times. So there's a lot of context with Bailey Zappe that didn't make him all that great. But I think this is a good move. I assume Belichick okayed this decision 100%. He probably had final say in this. But the fact that potentially Bill O'Brien said, "Hey, Malik Cunningham's interesting. He was exciting, but." For maybe Bill O'Brien or even Belichick himself to say, "Hey, we're gonna waive Bailey Zappe, we're gonna waive Malik Cunningham, and only put Mac Jones, the only QB at the time, on the roster." I think that allowed Mac Jones to breathe a sigh of relief and says, "Okay, now I don't have to worry about someone taking my job. Let's get the ball rolling. This is my team. Time to focus on being the best quarterback I could be for the New England Patriots." So I think I was shocked when I first heard Bailey Zappe and Malik Cunningham are both cut from the Patriots. They brought him back on the practice squad, which was expected. But the fact that Matt Corral is right now on the active roster and Bailey Zappe isn't, and I don't know, it's definitely interesting there.
I think they're trying to kill a Zappe in the crowd if Mac Jones comes out and has a stinker.
I think that would be the best thing, because as a third-year quarterback,
you think they'll be saying Corral? I doubt it.
I think it won't be any backup quarterback. It will just be bench Mac Jones. Bench him, bench Mac Jones. It won't be bringing any quarterback. It will be bringing anybody for Mac Jones.
Well, you think in terms of capabilities, I was reading up on Corral. It says he's more mobile. He has a better arm than Zappe. He's taller. He's faster. He's a dual threat. He can run as well. Zappe really not much of a runner. He was a higher draft pick. But Zappe has more experience in the offense, Patriots offense. So
And so I think this is a calculated move. I really do. This is one of the calculated moves, and it's a shocking calculated move because obviously the Patriots, on I would say most assets of football are a very, very smart team, especially on defense. Bill Belichick drafting skill positions, that's where he gets a little bit shaky. But besides the fact, this was a move to help out Mac Jones probably, and we see Belichick never. Besides maybe his rookie year when Mac Jones took the job away from Cam Newton, did he have faith or determine that Mac Jones was truly the quarterback for the Patriots? I mean, last season it was always like, the best quarterback will be out there. So we didn't know if Mac Jones was the guy or not, and that's what even fueled Bailey Zappe's fire even more and the fans, because you couldn't say. Bill Belichick never said, oh, no, this is Mac's team 100%.
Yeah, well, I think Jones hurt his credibility with Belichick when he went to other teams looking for help on the offense and also dissed the coaches on the field.
Well, reportedly, he asked Bill O'Brien about the system. He asked Bill O'Brien to try to help out. He asked the Alabama coaches. So I think it's, I think this is a good move, a good calculated move. I'm just surprised that it's a calculated move to help out a quarterback you wouldn't even name your QB1 even in this offseason. When this offseason broke, you were asked, who's the quarterback one for the Patriots? Who will be out there starting? Belichick wouldn't give an answer. This is the first move where we've sort of said, okay, this is officially Mac Jones' team. And guess what? I think he deserves it. The way he's been playing in the training camp and in practice, even in the preseason, he was getting pressure on over a third of his snaps, and they had to bench him because the offensive line was so bad in that last game against the Packers. And even then, Bailey Zappe dealt with pressure in the pocket against the Packers because
it was terrible.
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was bad decision making. But Bailey Zappe just, I guess the knob got turned down a little bit, and the heat, I think, at least in Mac Jones's head, gets turned down way more because the guy that the fans were cheering for isn't even on the active roster right now.
My guess is they keep him. My guess is they keep him. They leave him on the practice squad. They'll have Corral up there. If Mac Jones is terrible or gets hurt, I wouldn't be surprised if Zappe comes back off the practice squad.
And because
he's the one with the most experience.
Absolutely. And I think there's a higher chance Zappe comes in due to Mac Jones' injury than it is to Mac Jones playing bad. I mean, this offensive line was abysmal, and regardless of the fact that it was preseason and there's backup and third stringers, your starting offensive line's dealing with injuries.
Yeah, they'll give Jones a lot of room in terms of his play.
I think they should. A new offensive coordinator, a couple new weapons. You have a brand new running back. Your offensive line is not great. It's dealing with injuries.
What do you think about Jalen Reagor being picked up? He was a former first-round pick.
Yeah, no,
he had not such a bad season with Philadelphia his first year. 64 catches, 700 yards, 3 DDs. Then they traded him to. I'm not sure why they traded him to Minnesota. Minnesota didn't even play him. He only had 8 catches.
Yeah, no, I don't think this. I don't understand the move. They already have. Well, actually, no, I don't understand the move because they already have 6 wide receivers. Tyquan Thornton just got put on the short-term IR. That's why they were actually able to go out and get Corral, freed up a space, and that's what they used that space for. So there's 5 receivers right now on the roster. There's Juju, there's Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne, and then the 2 rookies, Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas. That right there is fine. Even with Tyquan Thornton there. Tyquan Thornton, I think, is more of the add-on piece there, and I think the rookies should be getting more playing time than Tyquan Thornton because they are more explosive. We saw Demario Douglas was cooking him in training camp and in practice. We saw Kayshon Boutte catch a beautiful pass. So I think those guys are going to be your playmakers, your speedsters right there. But the question is Juju going to stay healthy? Is Devontae Parker going to stay healthy? Belichick still, by the way, this is another calculated move on the offense. There was a lot of interest in Kendrick Bourne, and Belichick said, we're not trading him. And that's shocking, at least from last year when he was put in the offensive doghouse. He never played, really. Didn't get any targets. He never saw the field. And it's a shocker. Why? Because his first season with the Patriots, I believe he had over 800, or he might have had exactly 800 yards and a couple touchdowns. He was one of Mac Jones' best players, and that's what helped the offense, in Mac Jones' rookie year, helped it along a lot. And the fact that Belichick actually believes in him so much that he had a lot of interest, and Belichick sort of turned down all those trade rumors and trade hopefuls, I guess, and said, no, Kendrick Bourne's going to be on the team. I think that's another huge move, calculated move on the part of Belichick. Yeah. But Jalen Reagor, to me, I don't know if he's ever going to see the field.
I mean, I think they look at him, he's a former first rounder.
Right.
Sometimes they go out. Sometimes they go out and pick up players that are high draft picks that don't do so well with their original team, and then they come in for the Patriots and do very well.
That could be the case, but I don't think Jalen Reagor, he's at the very best, he's going to be a wide receiver.
Kyle Van Noy would be a good example of that. He was
still out there, by the way.
Lions, and they didn't do much with them. They had him for 2 years. The Patriots managed to get him, and he was a star for them.
Well, I'll say this. At the very best on this team, he's a wide receiver 4. Regardless of his draft, or regardless of where he was drafted, he's not beating out Bourne, he's not beating out Parker, and he's not beating out Smith-Schuster. So at the most, he's a wide receiver 4, and I may not even put him on I may not even start him because I need that young nucleus of Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte. I feel like they have a pretty big ceiling. The question is, though, the wide receiver is the dependent position. How will Mac Jones play? I think the wide receivers will only play as good as Mac Jones, or actually the offensive line, I think, will affect Mac Jones, which would then in turn will affect the receivers. It all starts with that offensive line. The offensive line for the Patriots, at least, is the key piece. It does not look too good. And I understand it was preseason, but the starters are dealing with injuries. Trent Brown is still a huge question mark. Cole Strange, this is his second year. He's a question mark as well. They're starting Riley Reef. He's a question mark. The only guys you really have that are the consistent guys is David Andrews and Mike Owenu. That's really all you got. Trent Brown, he was pretty bad. I don't have the video queued up or anything. First play of the preseason in Mac Jones' first game. False start. Great start to to his season, but I don't know. I think this is an interesting and potentially very well calculated move on the part of Bill Belichick. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.